Hey Latinas,
I'm Nastasia.
and I'm Ariadna, y vamos a latear un poco. We are empowered Latinas who want to make you feel celebrated, inspired, and heard by providing Latina.
LaTeaNa is a weekly podcast that can be found anywhere. We are raising our voices and making an impact by diving deeper on the topics that get swept under the rug and more.
Frequently having guest Latinas who are making a powerful difference. Join us to expand this great community.
Let's pour some tea.
Hi, Latinas.
Hi, LaTeaNas!
How are you
Hi.
today?
We're so excited, Ariana. Who do we have on today?
Oh my God, we have Ashley Nell Tipton. I've been going crazy since the moment I found out about this woman through Project Runway. Thanks to my husband. I always give a shout out because he loves that show. If it wasn't for him, I would have no idea. But still, like, I got so excited because and so empowered by her story, by her journey, everything she's done since then to grow, and now we have her today, and I'm super excited. So hello,
Hi, Ashley.
Ashley.
Hi, ladies. Thank you so much for having me on. I feel so honored to be with you, both Latina women in this community, and I'm excited to do this podcast.
Oh, we're so excited too. Thank you for joining us and building this community with us.
Definitely, it's such a pleasure to have, like I said earlier today, like a hot empowering woman. Like everything that you do, like I share your stuff all the time, and not only to share it so more people can see it, of course, but it's just like I see it and I'm almost like, yes, this is exactly what I needed today. Like this is exactly the kind of message of like body positive, and it not only the message but the fashion, which is like, oh my God, there's actually stuff made for my size. Oh my God. Like I'm so thrilled. But yeah.
Yes, we will go, just to dive in, we will go to our grave saying how grateful and thankful we are to our generation who has really taken on the mission of making sure that we become the people that we wish we saw growing up. And Ariadna and I are both very curvy women who have had our share of feeling frustrated that we can't find something to wear that makes us feel like how the women in the magazines look, or we want clothes that make us statements and that are stylish, but we want to feel flirty and dress our moods. And those options at a reasonable price at that are really, really hard to come by. But here you are with this boulder knocking down these walls and showing up, girl. Like, and to think like this all started with your grandmother's sewing machine. So like, what does this mean for younger you?
I mean, as I take this long pause, what does it mean for younger me? I mean, growing up, as you guys are talking, like, I can relate to the struggles of not being able to see anyone like me in magazines, not only not seeing someone who is fat and, mixed races, being white and Mexican, and finding a place where you fit. I always use this analogy or this example of when I go to an American grocery store, I don't feel like I belong. And then when I would go to a Mexican grocery store, I never felt like I belonged there too. So it was always this weird thing. So for me, my focus has always been sharing my fatness and the struggles. And I think I'm now going into this chapter of life of sharing my journey of being both both nationalities, and trying to find my purpose and where I fit in between everything that's going on in the world, and how people see my skin. They might think that I'm just white and that I'm not Latina. So being on Project Runway and being fat and Latina, I wanted to make sure that people, knew who I was and where I was coming from, and know that being Latina, we never saw being fat something that we could celebrate. It was always something that like our families try to hide or make fun of, just to, I don't know, put the energy somewhere else. Like, it's just, yeah, it's this whole other topic that we can go into, but it meant so much for me as a little kid. Like, if I could have me as someone to look up when I was younger, the people who I had to look up was Kelly Osbourne. and I can't even, I'm trying to like remember what fat bodies were on TV that I could relate to. And there wasn't really anything. And if there was, it was someone who was way older than what I could relate to.
We
Yes,
totally see
absolutely.
that. Right?
I think if I did see any fat curvy bodies, they were always somehow still sculpted. Like they still had that perfect shape. It was like, well,
Yeah.
either way, I still don't look like that. And I can't wear that skirt. That skirt, one, wouldn't be available for me to wear. I have a big butt, so there's no way. I can barely find jeans at all whatsoever, or shorts that won't ride up. It's like there's no way. How either you're supposed to be this woman who's supposed to be celebrating and embracing your body, but it's still sculpted. It's still perfected. How is that being for us? I don't understand. So I really get that.
It's difficult.
Agree.
Go ahead. It's even like seeing like clothing that is made for plus size bodies, and then seeing that it's just covering us up. It's not giving us any style. It's just trying to manipulate the eye to see something else, or there's no effort in these clothing. Like growing up as a fat kid and knowing nothing else sucked. I mean, I'm pretty sure we're all around the same age, and especially growing up at that time, there was nothing. Do you guys remember the Limited 2?
Yeah, I remember Limited 2. Yeah, of course.
Limited 2 was the only place that I remember having a double XL. And every time I would walk into their store, they would tell me that they didn't carry that size there, that you could only buy it on catalog or online.
Oh, yeah, on catalog. Yeah,
catalog back then.
Yeah.
And I remember like looking, I can't believe I'm like remembering this because I haven't remembered any of these things, but like I remember going through the catalog and circling everything that came in a double XL, and that's what I wanted. And then when I would get it, it didn't fit me. Like, it's just the most sad thing ever to be growing up during, that time, which is like the late 90s, early 2000s, and just trying to find clothing that allowed us to express ourselves at the time that we're trying to express ourselves the most,
the most, and like exactly like finding who you are. I mean, I think we're always trying to find who we are, and like we're ever growing and all that stuff, but at that age is like really precise. Plus you're finding your own style, because you could do the flip of like, oh, my parents used to dress me and pick everything out, of course. Now it's like, oh, this is my personality. Like, oh, look at Limited 2, which I totally forgot about that store. That they existed.
They tried to have a comeback.
They did. I studied it in marketing. I was like, oh, I forgot about this store.
They did like a year ago or two that they were coming back when the whole 90s theme was coming back. They definitely I remember them doing an article saying that the Limited 2 was coming back, or did they? Or they were
I don't know. I don't think they did anything of it by now.
They don't exist anymore. They're like Toys R Us. They're gone.
Yeah, exactly. We were like, who are younger than us, like, what is Limited 2? What is Limited? Like, well,
back in my day.
Exactly. It's not that old.
If they know what
with AOL.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that. That's for sure. You have your own status as well. Oh my god.
I have the best AOL name ever, and what's crazy is that I don't even remember it, but I knew that it was like the best name. It had like a whole bunch of numbers and special characters. My mom found out that I got one, and then I had to completely get rid of it, but I had the best one ever. I think it was like, because my nickname is Tasha, it's like, Tasha is too cool for you, and then 619.
That's adorable. I do not remember my name. I like my AOL name. I can't. Like right now, when she mentioned Limited 2, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Oh goodness, there's so many feels, and I wanted to backtrack. I don't even know if I have enough memory to backtrack to what you were saying originally, actually, in the sense of, because everything you said was so much gold. Like, it's so like anything you say in that kind of sense, you're like, oh, that resonates. Like, oh my God, that was me as well. So it's like, to go back into everything you said, it's like there's so many things to dissect. I don't know how to say it, but like how like to
dissect it and really
dissect.
go
There you go.
into.
Exactly.
I think it was like being both nationalities and not knowing how to fit into either one.
Because I mean, even though you just met us in this particular case, our following and people who have met us know that we're definitely different cultures. Like with me, you know, I was born in Venezuela, I was raised in Miami, I moved to Spain, I lived there for 16 years. So my culture is literally all over the place as well. So you're like, where do I fit in? Which one is that? And then when it goes to style, like I remember limited too, because I was still living in the States, but then I moved to Spain more or less at that age, about 14, the second time around, the definite time around. And so with that one, it's the exact same thing as style here, because their bodies, the Spanish bodies, are really different. They're not as curvy as us. They're not as big as us. Much like she said, she had a big butt. I had big boobs. I've always had them. They're always there. They're in your face. And I'm like, even I can get skinnier, they're always there. So like whenever I'm trying on clothes, when you were saying about sizes, it's not only a matter of like how big I am fat wise or whatever. It's just like, oh, I have boobs, like this is just my blood and body coming out, like what am I gonna do, you know? And actually something that has happened in my family that I don't think I've ever said is that it like big boobs run in my family, and they've had surgery to reduce it, one for back problems, but also because of the whole fashion kind of never finding the right clothes that fit all sorts line to one. So we always talk about like breast, what's the opposite, not reduction, but
breast reduction, obnotate. Wait.
I've always just called it a boob job. If you've ever
okay, so we always talk about boob jobs, about making them bigger. We don't really talk about making them smaller for the right reasons. And yeah, on one hand, like I said, a lot of back pain, because I totally understand that. Like I'm luckily enough they stopped growing. I mean, this is a nice way to myself. And I'm like, okay, that's it, good. But at the same time, because of trying to quote unquote fit in. So once again, we can get sidetracked to a million different subjects and topics, but this is what we're here for.
Yeah,
like literally.
Something that you mentioned, you said that the clothes that were made for plus size were like, they always try to hide our bodies. I always felt like they were scraps. Like it was just like, oh well, here's some clothes for them. Here you go.
Yeah, this is why I fell in love with you in Project Runway. I can say it a million times. I tell the whole damn world, I swear. Because I saw you, you're like, you're not making scraps. Thank you, Nastasia, for that thing, because it's true. Like you see Ashley as a designer through the program, because that's generally who you are. And I'm like, oh, she's actually making freaking clothes for me, not scraps, because they do that. Because I've seen, because I can go on and on. I like into fashion and like all the sorts of designers and whatnot. You're like, no, that's not enough.
Leftovers.
And hiding our body.
Meal.
It's like
scraps.
Exactly. It's like, I want that dress in my color and my size. I mean, oh my God, yes.
I just think that there's too many designers who don't understand plus size bodies. It's like, how can you be designing for plus size women if you're one, not a woman, and two, you're not plus size? Like, I know that sounds so wrong in many ways, like, but until you're in our bodies, until you realize how it feels to move around in our bodies, how it feels to be insecure or just being judged, I don't know, like there's a type of feeling we want in our clothing, and I haven't seen anybody get that for us.
I agree.
Like we are not all shaped the same way, but there's this look that we all want to achieve, and it's just being able to create our own styles and look put together the way we want to. I just hate seeing plus size clothes that are just so ill-fitting, or what were they thinking? What is it? I hate when clothes try to make you look thinner. Like they bring you clothes like, oh, we're gonna cut the hemline asymmetrical so that it looked like you look taller this way. It's like, not every plus size person has that part. issue, and not every plus size person is trying to make themselves look thinner. It's like,
Exactly.
allow us to figure that out if we want to do that. But don't make that decision for us.
Yeah.
Like, why can't you make horizontal stripes? Why can't you make shorts? Why can't you make low cut tops? I don't know. Like, there's just so many things that I feel like companies do to, like, I don't know, they're trying to dress us. And I guess I'm talking from experience working with JC Penney's, a corporation that had, you know, multiple, over 700 stores in United States. And just seeing how I had to fight to design a horizontal striped crop top. Like, it got down to, how crop is this crop top gonna be? And they wanted to make it a full length shirt. And I'm like, that's not a crop top. And they're like, our customer is not the woman who wears a crop top. And I'm like, well, I'm not trying to design for your customer. I'm trying to design for my community who needs this. Like, you have over 700 stores in the United States. Do you not understand how many plus size women you're giving them the availability to be able to dress the way they want to? I just couldn't believe how they're like, well, that's not our customer. Just seeing how they think that they know what plus size women want.
That is it's crazy, without a doubt. Believable, sadly, but crazy.
It is.
And
But it's just to think that all these companies have the same thinking.
Exactly. It's just a copy paste. That's why when your collection came out, and not to repeat again, Punch Up Runway, but because you reminded me you did do crop tops. Like, that was your thing. That was one of your main things. It was lacy, which I love, anything lacy, of course. But it was crop tops. And I'm like, that's so okay. I can rock that. I can see myself, apart from the million colors. I'm very, very colorful. But that aside, that's a matter of taste. The crop tops were a big thing on purpose, and I fell in love with them. And you're right. And I felt more empowered, to be honest, since then. And granted, I only saw your season this year because I lived in Spain. It doesn't exist in Spain. It didn't reach there. We moved here last year. It's quarantine. We're going through Hulu. He wanted to watch it. He's like, oh my God, I remember like when the show came out. I haven't seen a bunch of seasons. Let's see them all. And we did. And when yours came up, so this wasn't like, I've seen your journey really recently, of course. I must admit that. However, through that, in my personal opinion or journey or whatever, it made me feel more empowered with the crop tops, with the kind of attitude that comes with it as well. So
and that's
I
my
give you props for that.
Thank you. And that's my goal. It's like, we've lived in our bodies for so long, and we've allowed people to make us feel uncomfortable for our own bodies, that I wanted to do basically my clothing. Like, I know this might sound weird, but it was almost like a reverse psychology. I rather make people feel uncomfortable than me feel uncomfortable in my clothing. Like, I have this sweater that says fat bitch on it. It's from one of my Instagram friends, I believe Fat Girl Flow. And she created this sweater that says fat bitch on it. And I made it into a crop top. And every time I wear it, the looks on people's faces, it brings joy to me, because I'm like, you don't know how long you've made me feel so uncomfortable my life. And now that I've made you uncomfortable, it's like I'm getting my power back that everyone has stolen from me over the years. And so me wearing a crop top, designing a crop top, it's like saying fuck you to everybody who ever thought that I couldn't wear a crop top or show my arms off. Like, a lot of people don't know this, but right after I won, Tim Gunn had went on this podcast and just talked so horribly about me and my designs and how I was creating crop tops and allowing plus size women's midriff to be showing, and how that wasn't appropriate and things like that. And I'm like, aren't you supposed to be an advocate for this plus size community?
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking down to me when we should be lifting each other up, because we both come from a background of not being accepted, and now you're knocking me down.
Girl. Oh my gosh. I really hate, and maybe it's because for me personally, I got a lot of this growing up specifically from this gender, but I really hate when men comment on my weight or comment on what types of clothes that I should be wearing or what I should be wearing or what would be more flattering. It's just as much as I would prefer always going to a woman doctor. You have no idea what my body is going through, what my body is like, the hormones, the hypothyroidism, that my weight is going up and down. I have clothes for this size. I have clothes for this size. You know nothing. And yet you feel like you have this need to say something. And
This entitlement.
Yeah.
But I also agree, like, with Anastasia, because I say the same thing. I also have hypothyroidism. My weight goes up and down. And also, like, when people are like, you should work out more. You should eat healthy. I'm like, oh, excuse me. Are you with me 24/7? Like, I love my salads, and I go on a freaking walk every single day, and I work out when I need to work out because I love myself, and it's what I do. And even if I did it, that's not your problem.
I love
just
my
because
salad,
they saw me,
my hot Cheeto bags. So leave me.
just because they see you of a particular size, they mark you unhealthy automatically. And I'm like, you have no idea. And just because that also opened my eyes a lot more when you mentioned hyperthyroidism, because it's really new to me, because I got diagnosed about a year and something ago, maybe almost 2 by now. And like my whole world changed, what I can eat, what I cannot eat. My weight like fluctuates a whole bunch and whatnot. And I'm like, what is happening? And I was always big, I was always curvy and all that stuff, but this was like a big kind of, change emotionally and whatnot. And I also agree with what you were saying, like all my doctors, whoever they are always women, because yes, because literally what you just said, because I was like, you know what? No, it's fine. You don't know me. And that yeah. We did have the following question as well. So we were going back into the fashion world, let's put it that way. Making alterations in the fashion world to create a space for plus-size people is so scary, but brave, when you think about what fashion has based itself on for decades. I'm sure there were doubts one way or another that you obviously pushed through, but did you ever feel like your dreams were too big for other people to understand? And did it bring doubt when applying for Project Runway?
I always felt like my dreams were unique, but I never felt alone. Because I was like, there's so many plus size people out here. It's not like we're extinct or anything like that. There's so many of us out here. And if America is saying that there's an obesity problem, then where's all my fat people at? We need clothing, don't we? Like, we have bodies. So why aren't you creating anything for us? You make us live in a world that is not accepting, and all we want to do is exist in life and live a normal life. Like, I guess to me, it wasn't being brave. It was just being tired of living this life. Like, how can we grow? How can our voices be heard? Like, I've heard this question that you've asked me, and I've heard people say how brave I am, or that's an insult for someone to say how brave you are for living and like not being ashamed of your body and all those things. Like, I don't know if you guys understand. Like, when I overheard that podcast that Tim Gunn was on, and him saying that Nina Garcia she applauded me for being brave, for walking out of the house dressed the way that I am. And I'm not trying to bash Nina or anything like that, but I just think it's really weird that people think that I'm brave enough to walk outside. It's like, you're brave enough to live? Like, I have to live this life. I was given this life for a reason. And I think what drove me so much is I felt like I had a purpose in life. And there were so many people in my path that had told me that I wasn't going to be successful. and that like what I was doing wasn't right. And that power or that those comments just fueled me. So it gave me the motivation to keep going, because I was like, I have to change people's minds about being fat. Like, you make me feel like it's so bad. And I don't know why I can't lose weight. I really don't have a desire to lose weight, but I know that you make me feel so comfortable and I'm not alone. And what do we do to change this? So I just knew that I wanted to be a plus size designer. I knew I wanted to create plus size clothing because nobody was doing it. Nobody. And it just blew my mind. Like, if I knew how to sew, and if I knew how to make clothing in different sizes, I just didn't understand why it was so hard for companies to do that. Why can't you just take this design that you created for a smaller size and just create it for us? So I just always knew that this was a big thing, but I was just like, how do I keep going? And then my doubts for Project Runway, I had already applied for maybe 3 other fashion shows, like TV shows, because we used to have Style to Rock with Rihanna, which wasn't in the US, but it was in the UK, and she was bringing it to the US. And so I applied for that show. And then there's Fashion Star with like Jessica Simpson, Saks Fifth Avenue, and like a bunch of other stores. And I had also applied for that show, and I had made it to like halfway of auditionings and stuff like that. And I had put everything into it, but I didn't feel like I was being myself 100%. Like, I didn't feel like people were still taking the plus size community serious. Like, I didn't know what I needed to do to make people see that plus size can be fashionable. And I didn't know if it was changing my hair color or just wearing things that people never saw a plus size body wearing, to show them that I can do it if you just give me the materials. So Project Runway was kind of my last, like, I'm going to try out for this fashion show. And if it doesn't work, then I'm giving up on fashion, period, like designing. Because I was already working 2 jobs in retail, trying to run my business out of my sister's garage. And I just had it. I was just like, I'm not a business major. I'm just a fashion major. I can't own my own business. I don't know anything about business. I'm suffering right now. And so applying for the show, I had received an email to apply, and just reading the grand prize, I was like, oh gosh, this would be amazing to show in New York Fashion Week and to have the money to jumpstart my business. And I knew applying, I told myself, Ashley, you have to be 100% you. You have to own this. You can't be anyone else. Do not try to cater yourself or try to mold yourself into someone you think that they want. Just be yourself. Show your fatness. Like, just, you got to represent it. And so that was what I showed in my audition tape. And when I was applying, they asked me, like, if you got to go to the finale and showcase in Fashion Week, would you showcase a plus size collection? And I said, of course, like, that is my mission. I'm presenting a plus size collection now, and this is who I am as a designer.
Oh my gosh. Yes, absolutely.
Sorry, that was kind of long.
I wanted to start snapping. I was like, oh, no audio. But I was like, yes.
I could see you. I could see both of you. It was amazing.
I understand you perfectly what you said about being brave, for example, because I get that question a lot as well, or I get, like, not only because of, like, the way I look and my size and my color and my crazy colored hair when I had it, or my million tattoos, or it goes with everything of, like, how can you be so brave to, you know, talk about being sexually abused? How can you be so brave about talking about wearing those tight dresses that I do wear and those short shorts that I do wear. And I'm like, it's my life. I'm comfortable. I love being in a bikini, not only because it's really hot, but it's just my natural state. I don't know why, it just is. So
it's more of like we feel sorry for that person who feels like they're trapped.
Exactly. I'm just embracing who I am. I love my colored hair. I love my tattoos. I love Disney. It's so many things that makes me me that I'm like, why would I be someone else? So that kind of links up to what you said about being yourself during the process, because I generally saw that. And I'm drawn to people like you because not only because of the body positive, all that, because it doesn't have to be that topic particularly, but just people who are boldly themselves,
and genuine.
Exactly, because that's what you saw from the moment that you see every single episode and then some, and everything that you've done after. It's one of those things you're like, oh. And like you said with the hair, because you had that really hot purple hair, I think, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes,
because you had it pink after, but still, like, and I love purple, and I always loved my purple hair as well. So I was like, oh my god, my husband was like, this is so you. I know exactly who you're rooting for this whole season. I'm like, yes, I am. And he did too, though. He fell in love right away as well. But regardless, it is one of those things that made me teary in a good way, because your words have that power, and to see you have that platform. So the thing is, we watch the whole show, we don't follow anyone, we don't see any of, like, even if I was interested, I'm like, oh, what is she actually up to? I'm like, no, we have to wait until we see the whole show, because no spoilers. The moment the show ends, we go directly to find out what these people are up to. I saw your number of the following, and not because you have, it's not a matter of numbers, it's a matter of the community that stands behind you, and not even behind you, next to you.
People are listening.
Exactly. Like when we saw that, and like me and my husband were looked at each other like, this is what we deserve. Like, this is exactly like the whole season. You know what I mean? So it's one of those feelings of like, she's got us. She knows exactly what we're feeling. So thank you once again for that answer and just being yourself.
Yes.
Thank you.
Speaking of ingenuity, because COVID-19 is alive and kicking right now. I know a lot of companies and trades are suffering because of it. Demands are changing daily, but you have still found a way to apply your design skills and meet those demands, because you're making face masks and they're so freaking cute. Can you tell us about them?
So adorable.
Thank you. Well, we're in this pandemic, and COVID-19 is here, and we don't know how long she's here for. I call everything a she, because they're just all over. They're highly emotional. And,
right.
Yeah, we haven't figured it out. It's okay. So when being in a company, being an independent designer, being a small business, you kind of have to keep your ear to the ground, and you have to be ahead of yourself, to keep it going. And so for the past 3 years, I've just felt like I've kept my head above waters, being in this industry, seeing it grow so fast, but going in a completely different direction than I originally thought I would see it, and that is fast fashion. And fast fashion has hurt, us small businesses who are actually creating from a plus size point of view, from a plus size designer. And so business has suffered, the past few years with fast fashion happening, and having all these Fashion Nova and Shein and Pretty in Pink, or whatever these companies are, like, they've hurt us. And I've also seen them try to help us as being influencers in the industry. So it's like, I knew that that's not the way I wanted to continue going. And I knew that one day that all of this fantasy of being an influencer and making money as an independent contractor, like, I just felt like one of these days that's no longer going to be the source of income that these influencers go. Like, I felt like there was going to come a stop. Mm-hmm. So seeing COVID hit China and things like that the way it did, we were actually in the process of doing work in China in manufacture. Somebody in our team was supposed to go check out manufacturers, and they told us that their trip was canceled because of COVID there. And since they didn't know what was going on, we didn't know what was going to go on, and we saw that there was already a need in face masks and gloves, and how everybody needed to wash their hands, and we didn't know if we needed to wear a mask or not. So we felt like, what can we do to help the community? And so we first started off by saying positive messages that could help people in this time of the unknown, and not letting the unknown get to us, and that we can't control what we can't control. And so we saw how that had such a positive impact on people, and how that kind of eased their mind. And we wanted to see what else could we do with the materials that we have surrounding us, meaning like anything, like our platform, our community, just anything. And so we thought of making face masks, because we have so much fabric in our office that we wanted to do something with it. And I had this one fabric that had Frida Kahlo on it, and I had been holding it for a while, not knowing what I wanted to do with it. And then I found the perfect thing, and overnight we sold 100 of them, and we felt like, okay, this is something that maybe we need to start pivoting into. And that's when I learned what pivoting meant in your life. Because I almost got really stubborn and was like, no, I don't want to make face masks. Like, that's not who I am. I'm a designer. But at the same time, I felt like being a designer is kind of a luxury right now. Like, I can't make money off of my designs clothing wise, but I can do that by making masks, and I'm also helping someone, stay protective. I know that this isn't an N95 mask, but anything will help at this point.
Yep.
So there was a lot of negative feedback with even making masks. Like, I had a close family member tell me that what I was doing was stupid, and that I was spreading the disease rather than helping, rather than keeping it
safe,
from spreading. Yeah. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And if you think that what I'm doing is stupid, I'll talk to you next week. Like,
and that's that.
And now they have a mask and they're wearing one every day. And yeah. But it's a huge, I think this whole pandemic and COVID and everything, like the movement of Black Lives Matter and just everything that is happening right now is just, I think it's a huge wake up call for everyone to just love you. And like, you can't love anyone else until you love yourself. So I think everyone just needs to find what makes them happy. Stop, what is it called? Comparing yourself to others.
Yeah.
Like, if there's anything this can teach you.
Yep. I always live by that sentence. You got to love yourself first if you can't love anybody else. And it's a journey, it's a path, and it's a whole darn adventure, but it's worth it. And that's something that totally shows. Plus you preach that on your website, of course, but your brand itself, you preach the love yourself, and I love that.
I mean, this is something that I feel like more than anything, this is the right timing for my messaging to finally be heard. I'm about to start I'm starting my YouTube channel right now. It's just nothing has been uploaded recently. I'm starting to curate all these videos where I'm teaching people how to love themselves. And right now, last week, we just filmed my video talking about me transitioning into this space of me talking about it, because I've been practicing this self-love for the past 3-4 years. And I finally feel comfortable enough to share my stories, share what I've learned, and the tools that I use, and also my mentor and my mentor and my manager, Andrew, is also going to be in these videos with me, training us through these new learning steps that we can integrate into our lives every day, and how it's not a switch that just turns on overnight that we think. Like, for so many years, I thought, when is that switch going to turn on when I want to lose weight? Or when is that switch going to turn on when I finally have the confidence? And it's not a switch that you turn on. It's something that you practice over and over and over again. And it's gonna take people different times and how they click. It's all about how our brain has been wired. So I'm just so excited to be doing this YouTube channel, because this has been my manager's dream to do, especially when we first started working together. He saw how much I was struggling with my confidence, with my well-being, my weight, and he just really wanted to get me mentally healthy and teach me that it's okay to want certain things that people may not agree with. And that was getting weight loss surgery, and how having weight loss surgery had such a negative backlash on me for being in this plus size community. So after I did that, I felt like I went through this like dark tunnel of being depressed, because everybody hated me for doing that. And I felt like I let my community down, and to be able to rise above that and like not have that negativity hanging over me has been really freeing, because I trapped myself. Nobody did it to me. I did it to myself.
It's a journey. It's like, it's something I always have to keep reminding myself too. It's like, I don't know if there actually is a permanent destination for like self-love and being completely okay with who you are. It's 1,000% a journey. I think I still have to ask myself sometimes, like, or rather correct myself, I'll start looking at my neck and like the rolls that it has, or like I'll start looking at my stretch marks and seeing if there's cream that I can get rid of it. And I'm like, no, like you have to stop, and you have to realize like this is part of who you are. You're beautiful. You have to accept who you are. And then there's days where I'm just like, bitch, like I'm the shit. And so like it just goes, it goes like back and forth. It's like, it's a constant journey. And I feel like if we have that idea that there is a destination, we get so frustrated that we're not there yet. But if we look at it as it's something that we're, trying to achieve, or, working through every single day, it becomes a little easier, just even a little bit. I think you have to work for it every single freaking day. There's not going to be a day where that switch turns on. Like, it's just like, you have to work on it.
Exactly. I completely agree. What you were saying about wellness as well. It's mind, body, and soul. Like, I love that journey. I love knowing about your YouTube channel now, and that you're going to empower so many more people with it. Because that's what I'm all about. I'm all about, like, if you know me, I'm all about that self-love, wellness since day one. And also letting people know, like you keep saying, both of you, of course, it's the journey, and that no one is ever there. Like, literally, like, it's day in, day out, and people look up to people like us, or like you, like, oh my god, look, she has so many followers, and like she has her own companies, like, but it's still an everyday challenge, an everyday battle. Like, of course it is, and that's absolutely fine. It's absolutely normal. So definitely the whole part of what you were saying before, just that self-love, self-care moment, that's so important, of that path that you've been on, but now you have enough wisdom and teaching ability to like tell other people, because you're so full within yourself, is extraordinary. And I definitely congratulate you for that, because I feel like we need more of that in the world, and more advocates of that self-love, because that's the first thing that people have to do. And then what you were saying with the whole surgery, depression, all that bit, I completely see that, and I feel saddened for that, because like, why would that hurt you in any single way? I don't understand. And so like those kind of people who would give you that backlash, and the fact that you recognize that in yourself, that you put yourself through that dark tunnel, but you were able to get out of that, that's the point where you can stand up and say, I am myself. I am that no, you said fat bitch. Sorry, there it is. And I'm so used to saying bad bitch. That's why I am that fat bitch. And now you're able to teach others while you're still growing. So kudos for you and your manager, Andrew, because we know him very well as well. So that's very exciting. And that you have those people, you're surrounded by people who lift you up. And that's just also extraordinary. So
yeah, super kudos to your manager. It's really hard to get a manager in Hollywood who's gonna love you for who you are and celebrate that and wanna create more of that. That's kudos to him.
Oh yeah, I feel like I hit the gold. Like me and Andrew go way back to when I was in college. He was a professor there, and I mean, it's just, I think people feel your energy, and I've been told from a young age that as much as I can pass my energy off to other people is as much as I have to protect it at the same way. So I think me and Andrew both had this connection. Like we are so far in age. He's like in his late 50s and I'm in my late 20s, but we both have this love for helping people and for helping people find, like, just being content with themselves. Like when we see people hurt, we want to help them, or we see people who are a lost soul, or just I guess it's just finding people who don't have the confidence in themselves and allowing them to find the confidence within themselves. Because I think we fixate ourselves to admire people who have the confidence and try to live our lives like them, but they not necessarily are 100% confident. When my video comes out, I explained how everyone saw me on this TV show and saw such a creative, joyful, confident, such centered person, but I wasn't. It was that drive that I had and desperation. Like it was survival mode that kicked into me, and that's what I portrayed off on television. That's how people saw me, so this certain way of confidence, but it was like knowing that I had to get shit done because I didn't want to go home. So now it's like this person who you thought I was, that's not really who I was. I was working so hard for years to come off that way or just be that person, that I dove myself into depression because I was tired of being that person that everyone saw me be, but they don't understand what I was in that drove me to be that person. And I'm no longer in this survival mode. I'm in this mode of enjoying what I'm doing, and enjoying what I'm doing is also taking care of myself and my well-being. And after doing Project Runway and driving myself so hard, I was so unhappy with my life, but I had everything that I've ever wanted in my life. And I was like, this doesn't make sense. I'm wasting this time right now. So that's what led me to wanting to make myself happy. And making myself happy was getting healthier, mentally healthier and physically healthier. I always told myself that I still wanted to be fat, and fat doesn't have a number, but fat is just owning this body. Like, I don't think fat is ugly. I don't think it's nothing. It's just this word that people call me that they think they're offending me by, but they're not. So me wanting to lose weight was not available for me because I had this weird condition of no metabolism to lose weight. they thought I had a thyroid problem, but I didn't. And when they did more research, they just saw that my body was it was not available or not able to lose weight like a traditional body was. And so I was like, okay, well, what's the next thing I can do? And the next thing was to have surgery. And I did that without anybody knowing. And after having surgery, I had my conscious weighing over me that I need to let the community know that I had this surgery, because I didn't want them to think that I betrayed them in any way, because I've seen celebrities in the past admit that they had weight loss, and there was such a huge backlash that I didn't want that. And I thought my story would be different, and I should have just left it alone. And because I wanted to give everyone an answer or something, because I wanted to do it for them, it didn't line up. I didn't get the response that I wanted. So I led myself into this depression, which I should have never done to myself, because I put this weight and expectation. I did all this trauma to myself. And I want people to see this and realize it through my YouTube channel, that these things that we do to ourselves is self-sabotage. And we don't have to do that to ourselves anymore.
We don't. I love everything you said. I feel like I'm listening to myself and my story, partially because I know self-sabotage. I've been there, done that for many, many years. And also what you said, that you think I'm this way, but you don't see what's behind this curtain. So through my personal platform and every platform that I can use, it's like, no, like, this is me day in, day out. Yes, today I cried. Yesterday I didn't feel well. Tomorrow's a better day. Let's do this, and kind of see that and normalize being authentic and normalize every single feeling, so people don't automatically think, oh, of course she's happy, and of course, we judge too quickly, because that's what we've been fed, basically. So what I'm always trying to do is much like what you're doing right now with your YouTube channel, which I'm very excited for, of course, because you're denormalizing whatever. We're unlearning to relearn. I like that actually better. We're unlearning to relearn, without a doubt.
Yes.
Because all that was garbage, to say the least. And now we're coming from a place of pure, I would say love, but I don't
just an authentic place.
Exactly, that it's okay that, check in to because we're not that person. We're not that, like, and what you said about survival mode also touched my heart deeply, because I use that word a lot. I've been on survival mode all my life, and my husband right now is kind of like, we're not on survival mode anymore. Calm down. You're like, your dreams are coming true. You're working smart, not hard, but smart. Like, you are working what you need to do. Calm on down, my love. Like, you're gonna be fine, and stuff like that every single day. And I remind not only myself, but my following. It could be one person, it could be 2 million people. It doesn't matter. The fact is, like, spreading that message across is what I'm all about, what we're all about. And this is why, like, I go off on rants and talk about all this, Nastasia.
I think I just was going to say, everybody can relate to authenticity. Nobody can relate to perfection, because nobody is perfect. Like, not one person in the entire world. You can covet perfection. You can, as I said before, I was looking at the girls in the magazine with their perfectly thin bodies and their purses waving up and down. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I want that. I want to be that person. That's what I want. But what fed me were conversations like this. Authentic conversations, people owning to who they are and speaking their truth. That is what really feeds the community. It's not the other. No one can ever relate to perfection. It's impossible. At least that's my belief, because nobody is perfect. You can always relate to authenticity, though. That's just my thought.
Exactly.
Exactly. For last, we're going to drive back a little bit more to fashion, of course. And we just wanted to ask you, because fashion is always changing. The industry in general is always changing, of course, because we're creative souls in every shape, way, and form. Hopefully for the better. I think personally for the better. I feel like the younger generation is still coming in strong. regardless of that, what do you hope to see in the fashion world in the next 10 years? Do you expect like a specific kind of change? What are your thoughts, my darling?
I haven't really thought that far. Honestly, like I feel like whatever answer is right now, I guess what I just don't want fashion to be, I don't want fashion to divide our social status or whatever it is, like our worth, like how much money we have and how much we don't. Um, because for me as a person, when I shop, I feel good when I'm getting a good deal. I don't feel good when like I'm breaking my wallet just to have something for my status to show on social media. So it's like, I hope we get over this social status. And I mean, if we want to splurge on ourselves on something, that's fine. Like, but it doesn't mean we have to flaunt it and show it off. And yeah, I'm just so tired of that. And I hope the fashion industry can just get over that and get over the fact of having fashion shows.
Yes.
Like, why do we do
that
it?
Statement. I really like that last statement.
We do it to have I love the whole story of having like having something to look at to understand where that designer's idea was. But I hate the fact that it's another social status of who's invited to those fashion shows, who's in the front row, or who can purchase one of those designs. Like, I always try to make things affordable for my brand because not all of us can afford these things, but we all want them. So how do we make them more affordable and not to make our social status look like what we're wearing? I don't, if that makes sense. I'm just...
Oh, it does. It totally does. Plus with your designs, what we see that you're like going back to the mask, you always have fresh new ones. So it feels not only exclusive, but it's fresh, it's new, it's different, and they're affordable. Not only the masks, of course, that are so needed right now, but in general, your clothes.
And also the
Thank
majority
you.
of the world is not rich. So like a lot of these clothes, we want to look nice too. That's just it. Like we want to look good and feel good too.
We do.
Really
And we do
do.
feel good when that price does not like bend our wallets or whatever. Like this weekend I went to the outlets and my boyfriend's like, you really don't need that. And I was like, yes, I do. Do you not see that these are Nikes and they're $16? Like, I need them. He was like, you don't even wear that style or that color. And I'm like, you don't understand. Like, this is breaking me out of my style. Like, I love looking for stuff like that is cheap, because then it makes me get out of my comfort zone. Like, I don't like spending a lot of money on clothes, period, because it's just like, it's a lot. So whenever I find something that's new and out of my style, I'm like, this is my investment that I can put into a new style to try it out. And it makes me so happy. I don't know. I just discovered that this weekend. I was like, everybody asks me what the fashion trends are coming out, but like, I love window shopping. Like, I love window shopping, hoping that I'm going to buy something, but I never pull the trigger because I hate spending full price on something, because when I know how it's made and the quality, I just know in a little bit it's going to go on sale. And if it goes on sale, then it was meant for me to have. And it even feels even more better. Yay, I'm not alone.
I do the same. I wait for the sale but it sounds like if it's meant for me, it's going to be for me. And I agree with what you're saying. Treat yourself better when it does. When you find it again, it really does. Like, that's so me as well. Like, treat yourself when you want to, of course, obviously. But when it comes to like regular, because I'm not like shopping at all, and I'm like, fashion, like, what is that? Like, I just want to dress the way I want to. And plus, I don't like to be fitting into boxes. Because one day I can wear a skirt and a dress and like look so pretty, whatever, like something, that kind of flirty. And the next day I can just be in like gym wear and be equally as comfortable, happy, and that's just who I am. Like, it's not really a set fit style, and I love that. So those finds I love them. I really do.
I remember shopping, and there was like a 2-for-1 sale, and it was already 50% off. And so I was like, you guys, God must want me to have this, because why else would he put this huge sign out here? God wants me to have these shoes and that pair and that pair.
Exactly.
I adore that so much. So definitely that does answer the question, what you don't want to see. So we do have to speak out to insist to the existence, to the universe, to God, to anything that you believe in, like what you do want to see. So it's like inclusivity and community and affordable fashion. That's what we want to see. There you go.
And just allowing people to be creative. We live in this time where everybody wants to copy each other. It's like, why don't you just be unique and be your own self and be your own beat to your drum, or how do you say that?
Yeah.
I think it's just owning who you are. Because I don't know if people know this, but when they're trying too hard to be someone like they're not, it's pretty obvious.
It's pretty obvious. And talking from experience, because that's just the whole past trauma of mine back in my early 20s of like, if that person wanted me to be pink, I was pink. If that person wanted me yellow, I was yellow. We all
were there.
Exactly. But now it's like, you know what? I'm myself. I wear crop tops and I don't care.
Exactly.
Much like yours. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for this like powerful, amazing, wonderful, honest talk. My gosh. I adore this so much.
I love it. We have to do this again.
Yes.
Definitely. You know, our doors are always open. We love what you
even
do.
if it's like the group Zoom call that I saw that you had on a couple of weeks ago, and I thought that was so powerful. And I don't know, I just feel like we have to continue this conversation and help our community out to be able to spread the word even more. I think it has to come with us. We can't change people's minds. I think we just have to change our minds and just live the lives that we want to. And I think they will join us.
Yes.
What is it like if you
to the
build
lighter
it,
side? Yes, exactly. That's what we're building, babe. That's what we're here for.
We are having, and LaTeaNa's, I guess this is going to be your first time hearing it, but we are having another special. It's going to be called Who Run the World Girls. So we would love
in August, baby. Yeah, exactly. Such an empowering voice.
After.
Because we're gonna have monthly specials without a doubt. So our first one was about Black Lives Matter for obvious reasons, and then some. My gosh, but yes, and the next one coming is this one, the Who Run the World, the girls, because we goddamn do. We do. All right. So yeah, that's. Oh, I'm like speechless, but yeah, thank you so much once again, Ashley.
Thank you so much for joining us. This was so fun, and we would love to have you on again and do this again, and have you on Who Run the World Girls. This was a real treat. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I mean, you guys have literally woken me up this Monday morning. I feel so motivated and inspired. But no, this was great. Not only does it do something for me, but I know it's going to do something for our community and your listeners. With everything that I have to say, it's just me talking about this is only helping me do the work again for myself. It's like hearing myself talk about it, and it's practicing it at the same time. So thank you for asking me all these amazing questions and allowing me to have this platform to talk about it, because I really can't wait for this YouTube series to happen. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we just know that we have the material and we want to do this. And if there's anything that I would leave off with your listeners is just to remember to love you, the emphasis on you, knowing that you are enough.
Absolutely. Yes. We're ending it right there. That was really good.
That was extraordinary. We can say bye, LaTeaNas.
Well, thank you so much. Ciao, LaTeaNas. No, we have to end it right there. That was absolutely perfect.
No, yeah, that was like right there. Mic drop. There you go. That's Ashley for you, I swear. No, but for reals, girl, like it is something we're drawn to people who like gold attracts gold. Like you're drawn to people who are like you, thankfully enough. And this is one of the reasons why when I was told Nastasia about you, I'm like, this girl right here, like I just love everything she's doing, everything she's all about. It's all authenticity. It's like our message amplified even more. And then you add the fashion and the plus size and everything else, but the real message behind it is this, of course. And that's just the most that's the most important thing you can do.
Yes, thank
Most
you.
definitely.
But yay!
Thank you, ladies.
We hope you enjoyed your tea.
You know we did.
Be a part of this conversation. Come join us. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, and more.
Where you can find us providing la tea y estar lateando con nuestras amigas. And remember,
We are all LaTeaNas.
Latinas!